So let's talk about Roman Reigns. At Clash of Champions, Roman Reigns defeated Jey Uso to retain the Universal Championship, but give it to WWE to do something with a match I had no care of, had no desire to watch. Take a match like that and turn it into box office gold. When I was looking at the Night of Champions card or Clash of Champions, whichever of Champions pay per view this was, I just watched it last night, but whichever pay per view this was, on paper, this pay per view looked awful. And when we actually got to the event, it started off really hot with the Intercontinental title match. Good job to Sami Zayn for winning. But when we got word that that Bailey would no longer have an opponent because Nikki Cross, Nia Jax, and Shayna Baszler, so those three ladies weren't able to compete at the pay per view, which meant the women's tag team titles were not defended. I was actually looking forward to seeing what Ruby and Liv were going to have in store. Hopefully tonight on Raw, they have something to say opposite Jax and Shayna. Um, but in regards to Bailey being unable to defend, they threw Asuka out there, and then it was more so like an angle. So if the match was only scheduled to go 2 minutes because Bailey had no opponent, and you just want Asuka out there just because, why not just make it an angle? Why did you have to make it a match and then have Bailey retain via DQ? Why couldn't Bailey just go out there, talk shit? Asuka comes out there and be like, "Hey, I beat you, so why not just have them go into a verbal confrontation, then have Sasha attack from behind? Asuka bounces, but instead, Bailey hits Asuka with the chair, causes DQ, keeps her belt, and then Sasha attacks from behind. Asuka's nowhere else to be seen. So Asuka FOs, and Sasha and Bailey have a moment. So it looks like they're building towards Hell in a Cell, but this wasn't even the high point of the card. Not only did we have Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton in an ambulance match, but we also had the Universal title match of Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. Now, I'm not going to lie. I thought Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso was going to be like the halfway point main event. Like it was going to be like literally maybe 4 or 5 matches in. I did not expect this match to main event this pay per view. But now that it actually did, looking back on it, it's actually a perfect choice. And I'm not saying that because this pay per view was like some B level, C level, whatever you want to call it, pay per view. But I'm just saying the story behind it is so much more engaging than Orton versus McIntyre. And no offense to McIntyre, but his reign as WWE champion, it's probably the most unluckiest reign of all time because he was really hot and people wanted him to become WWE champion. And when he finally beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, we found ourselves in a crowdless era of wrestling. That being said, I need to talk about Roman Reigns because not only does WWE have two main champions, one of them is boring as hell. Sorry, Drew, you're just not doing it for me. And as much as I wanted you to reach the top, now that you're there, I don't think they know what they're doing with you, which is the opposite of what I think they're doing with Roman Reigns. Ever since Roman Reigns came back, what was it, SummerSlam? Spearing the hell out of Braun Strowman and The Fiend, making it known that he's back. He's coming back with a fresh look. Well, not necessarily a fresh look, a fresh feel for his character. He's a heel now. He's with Paul Heyman. Everything about Roman Reigns, WWE has handled extremely well. They've given him Paul Heyman. They've given him a new shtick. He's no longer the big dog. He's the tribal chief. They worked in their family story, their whole family relationship, and all that. They worked that into the story seamlessly. When Jey Uso won the number one contenders fatal 4-way match on SmackDown, my first initial reaction was, what the hell? And going into Night of Champions or Clash of Champions, whichever one this is, I still don't know. I still, in the back of my mind, was like, I don't know. But WWE has taken something and turned it into gold. Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso isn't about name versus name. It's about a family legacy. And that's what I think WWE handles extremely well. Is when they take a story, real family drama, stuff that wrestling fans know about. Because casual fans, we know of Roman's connection with the Usos, and the Usos connected to Rikishi, and their family. Reaches out to the greats like The Rock. I mean, we know this, but now we get to see what WWE sees, and by putting these two cousins against each other 1-on-1 for the Universal Championship. And it was fantastic. So, I didn't want to mention AEW in this review, but I will just because this match proves you can have a star and a mid card tag team guy go for the main title and do it right. Jey Uso played his role as the underdog babyface. Roman Reigns played his role as the overpowering heel. Jey Uso had a lot to prove in this match. Roman had nothing to prove. Roman's already at the head of the table, as he was saying throughout the match. The banter in this match, the back and forth, the storytelling, the selling. This match was a masterclass in professional wrestling. It was textbook babyface versus heel in the main event for the top title. Now I know some would argue if whether the WWE title or the Universal title are the top titles, and it really shouldn't be any argument. It should be the WWE Championship, but in this case, when you want to close out your main event of a pay-per-view, you want to close it with the hottest angle. And I'm sorry, but Roman Reigns is the hottest angle right now in WWE. I love it. I love everything about his character. He was slow, methodical. He was breaking apart Jey, telling him to admit that Roman was the head of the table and that he was nothing. And Jey fought back. The only thing I thought would have made this match a little bit better was towards the finish, where Jay's brother Jimmy runs down to try to throw in the towel, and Roman demands that they acknowledge that he's the tribal chief, the head of the table. The only thing that could have made that segment any better, or that finish any better, was seeing a little bit of color. I think Roman Reigns should have busted Jey Uso open. Now, I know that WWE is more PG these days, but I felt like if you really wanted to sell this angle and get Jey over, because he already won me over. I just thought, nah, he's a tag team guy. He's probably going to put up a good match with Roman just because, they're related and they're probably going to, do their best to make each other look good. But I did not expect this. Jey looked like $1,000,000 out there. He sold his ass off. Roman played his role extremely well. Jey got himself over with this match. Now he's not just another tag team guy. He's not just a tag team guy. He's not just that guy. He's not which one are you anymore. He's Jey Uso. He took Roman Reigns to the limit. He made his little comebacks. He was the only one that did, the flying dives. If there's one thing that I wish professional wrestling got back to, was the root of it all, where heels aren't the ones that are doing the high flying, the high risk, the high flying moves, suicide dives. That it made sense for Jey to do that because it was a desperate move. He knocks Roman out of the ring and flies out of there to knock him down once more. It felt natural. It felt real. It wasn't just, oh, now it's my turn to do a dive. This match was excellent. And it only could have been better if at the end Jey was bleeding. Roman got him, busted open. And I know it's more PG, but I don't think he would have gotten in trouble if he would have called just, you know what? Let me just cut you real quick. Let's give this angle some extra heat. because it was sizzling. I'm not gonna lie. I was on the edge of my seat watching this match, especially when we got to the finish. Both Roman Reigns, if he would have had some color, would have just started doing the elbows like Lesnar was doing to Orton at that one SummerSlam, just throwing those elbows. Oh man, imagine the reaction. Imagine if this match was in front of a live crowd. The reaction Roman would have got, I'm not sure what he would have got. Would people have booed him or would they have cheered him? Because people have been wanting Roman Reigns to be a heel for so long. I'm not even sure. But I think it would have been better if Jey was bleeding and while Jimmy was on the outside begging Roman to stop. That would have been perfect. But as it is, it still was a great way to finish the show. Jey came out with that with the flower boa around his neck, and it ends with Paul awarding that boa, that lei, and puts it around Roman's neck after Jey is unable to continue, and Jimmy throws in the towel to save his brother because Roman refuses to just let them go. He wants them to admit that he's the head of the table, he's the tribal chief, and was just laying in the punches and then until that towel flew in. Such a great match. It was amazing. I I got to give WWE credit because going into this, I this was one of the matches I probably didn't want to see, but only wanted to watch because it had Roman Reigns, and I really enjoy what they've done with this character. But now I feel like you have something, and you have two top champions, and Survivor Series is around the corner. Not really, but if they're thinking of champion versus champion, you got to think that they want Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns to be their main event at Survivor Series. Now, they've done this before at WrestleMania, and Roman's beaten Drew. This time, I think Roman's got to win again. I feel like this angle's too hot. You have to have Roman win because I think they want to build this up and take it all the way to WrestleMania, where I think they're going to have The Rock come in for his very last match, and I think they're going to have Roman go over. I think The Rock's last match will be against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 37, and I think Roman Reigns will defeat The Rock and take the torch as the new tribal chief and head of the table. So the pay per view was really good. I mean, it started out really hot, it kind of fizzled towards the middle, and it finished really hot. I am very pleased. I will probably rewatch Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso again because the story they were telling was superb. I feel like this should be the textbook example of how you do a match like this when you have a top star versus a mid card. This is how you do it. This is how you do it, and this is how you make it work, and this is how you make money. Roman Reigns as a heel is money. And that's all I really have to say about that. I really enjoyed the match. I really enjoy Roman Reigns' heel work. Jey Uso just got himself over, and I want to see a rematch between the two. Isn't that crazy? I want to see what happens next. And that's honestly something I never thought I would find myself saying after the end of the pay per view, because I just expected Roman to go in there, beat Jey in like 2 minutes, and that was it. Like he's like his shirt said, arrive, wreck everyone, and leave. So yeah, Roman versus Jey Uso. A round of applause. It was like two thumbs up, 5 stars. I mean, it was excellent. So let me know what you guys thought about the match down below. Did you enjoy it as much as I did? Do you think WWE is handling Roman Reigns' Universal title reign? Are they handling it as well as they can? Are you enjoying the title reign? Where do you think his story goes? Yeah. If you've enjoyed this video, if you've enjoyed what you heard, be sure to give a like, drop a comment, share it around, and subscribe for more. Alright, guys. Catch you in the next video. Tapping out. Adios.